one of the things that I'm passionate about in my ministry as a Christian priest is that I think it's really important that the church and the community are integrated in meaningful and open ways. And for me, this is just a really great example of the way that we can be relevant and open and hospitable to our community and to the city. And what better way, in many ways, than an opera that was designed and set in a church and in a cathedral.
Yeah, I think what's cool about this production is you have something like Baroque opera that's designed to be very ornamental and very regal, and as you know, Baroque music was largely written for royalty and commissioned by royalty and the upper class. And what's happening with this production is there's a whole bunch of sex, drugs and rock and roll, and I think this is a really colourful production, and this kind of takes the framework of the music and the framework of the cathedral and challenges that in the way that it's being set. I think that's quite a cool framework for the music to live in, and this is all being done with Baroque instruments and not modern instruments. So again, that has a really particular timbre about it that really makes it feel like you're sitting in the 1700s but in a 20th century cathedral, but with a 21st century framework around it. So I think that's going to be a really fascinating thing to sit through, and for an audience member to take all of those things in simultaneously while hearing all of this. Really, it's firework music.
I think one of the most special things about, well, there are two special things about this production. One is the nature of the music. It's so beautiful. It's completely sublime. It's a period of music that is very, very seductive, and it's so timeless. I mean, there are songs in this show that is just like, you just think these are such hit songs. They are massive songs, and collectively, it's the most beautiful piece of writing. And that being able to perform it in the cathedral is it's such a privilege, but it's a spectacular venue and a spectacular space.
I think that that's one of the wonderful gifts that an opera set in a cathedral, coming to the cathedral, gives us and reminds us, is that our story is told through song often and through music. And so what better way for us to be able to do that with an opera that was originally written and set in a cathedral. And so it's just another example from my perspective of how important music is, and a reminder how important music is, not only to the Christian tradition but also to the world.
I resonated with my character a lot because of the emotional journey he goes through within the opera, and why things happen to him the way they happen. I could synchronize with things that happened in my life and how I felt in certain situations, and actually the journey he goes through, I feel like I've gone through in my life. We've come to a point where my character starts a certain way, and in the end, it's a whole different energy. And I feel like there's a journey that's similar within my journey. So it was quite easy for me to resonate with the character, but to bring it out with a different story,
I think opera is really effectively sung drama, right? And as human beings, we learn to sing before we speak. And at moments of heightened emotion or heightened awareness, oftentimes it's quite natural for us to progress from speech to song. You think about how popular songwriting is at the moment, how popular musical theatre is at the moment. Opera is another form of that sung drama. So I think that there's absolutely no reason why it shouldn't appeal. It's often people's perception of the art form that is the barrier to engaging with it in the first place. But I think there's a broader and deeper meaning. When a drama is sung, it enters our being in a different way. It finds a way of capturing us in a way that is completely different from internet, from social media, from other forms of entertainment. It has a way of wrapping us up and carrying us along. It sends us to a different place. And so if someone is up for that sort of experience in the first place, many people aren't. Many people quite like it safe. And in a way it isn't safe, because if you agree to go on that journey, you don't necessarily know where you're going to end up. And therefore it might be transformative, quite possibly. It might change the way you think about the world. It might change the way you think about yourself or perceive yourself. So I would say, in short, why people should come and see opera is because it's potentially a transformative art form.